Hi, I'm Zoë Bormet, and I'm a junior on the Michigan field hockey team. I'd say I've had three main mentors in my life. One would be my dad. He actually coaches wrestling, so we've had a special bond through athletics my whole life. His biggest piece of advice has been only do it if you love it, only do it if you're passionate about it. So everything in life that I've decided to invest in has been because I really love it. My mom has always emphasized that my biggest asset in life is my intelligence and my education. So she has really, really supported me in those parts of my life. And then I would say my club coach, a little funny story about her is whenever she gives critique or feedback on our play, instead of pointing at us with a finger, she points at us like this at our chest, because in sign language, this is I love you. So whenever she's giving us feedback, whether it's harsh or with a firm tone, she's still telling us that she's doing it with love and she loves us. In my training regimen, I've really focused on my speed and agility. In field hockey, it's a very fast-moving game with a lot of turns and cuts. So footwork, agility, speed of foot pace, matching with your ball speed is really important. So off the field, when you're not working on skills, focusing on your speed and agility is crucial. I think a challenge that a lot of field hockey players experience in the US is that it unfortunately is a bit of an underdeveloped sport here. Overseas, it's a very popular sport, even for men. But in the US, especially in a lot of different areas, like the Midwest, it's starting to grow. But it's really big in the East Coast, but everywhere else, it's not a really big sport. So I think that having access to facilities, equipment is a really big challenge in our sport. And we're trying to get more progressed in those areas so that everybody can be a part of the sport. But I think that access to fields, the turf that we play on as a Division I sport is AstroTurf. It's a very expensive kind of turf, and there are no high schools that have access to that kind of turf. So I think accessibility to places to play, opportunities to play, clubs and leagues to play for, and continuing to get out on the field was a challenge, and I think is a challenge for a lot of players. I just did everything I could to find extra opportunities to play and get on the field. If practices were limited this month because we could only get access to the field a few times, I found some turf in my backyard that I could drag out and do skills in my garage in the winter, or do some skills out in my backyard. We were lucky that some of our coaches would do one-on-one sessions, so I just looked for any opportunity to get a little bit of extra time on the field on my own to work on individual skills, because our times to scrimmage and play at full speed with a full field is limited. My recruitment process was a bit interesting. I started out my recruitment process my freshman year of high school and started having those phone conversations, and then we went into the dead period where the NCAA started the ban until the summer going into your junior year. So I had a bit of a dark period for a year and a half and then resumed that junior year. I would say I started out my recruitment process with a lot of emailing, creating highlights, sharing that with coaches. The biggest way in our sport, at least, to be recruited are often at camps, clinics, or tournaments. So anytime I was going to a competition, I would make sure to send my schedule, invite coaches to come watch me play, all of those kinds of things. Keeping coaches in the loop of what's going on, what accomplishments you've made are really important. So keep that line of communication open. One of the biggest things that stand out to coaches and scouts would be the ability to pass the ball and distribute. I think that a lot of girls are mistaken in thinking that coaches are looking for an individual player that can beat everyone on the field, run all the way up the field all on their own, and be a one-man show. And really, that's not realistic in college when you get there. So looking to pass and distribute and be a player that organizes the rest of your team rather than taking it all on your own, that stands out way more than any dribble down the field, taking it one-on-one when you have players open. That's the biggest thing. In terms of my recruitment process, it's a bit unique. I am from Ann Arbor. I've grown up in Ann Arbor. My dad actually coaches wrestling at Michigan, and my mom has done research and data analysis for the university. So I had the privilege of getting an inside view of both the athletic side of the university and the academic side. And just being in Ann Arbor, growing up in this community, the town, seeing the camaraderie when it comes to sports and the energy and the excitement that revolves around this university and everything it does is absolutely unmatched. So from a young age, I fell in love with the athletic department, the community in Ann Arbor. Obviously, the academics are an unmatched force here. So in the back of my mind, I always knew my heart was here at Michigan. So I did push myself. I pushed myself to look outside and explore my other options, explore the other great universities and teams out there. But at the end of the day, it was a very easy decision for me. In terms of college selection, it's super important to look big picture. When I was evaluating all the different schools I was looking into, I took into account, of course, the academic rigor. I looked into the athletic rigor, but I also considered my life outside of school and sport. You want to be at a university that if you were to take away the sport or the academics, you would still be happy and want to be there. So I saw the community of Michigan, I saw the people and the energy surrounding Michigan, even just the town itself. I love Ann Arbor. I love the trees. I love the town embedded within the classrooms. So make sure that you love more than just what the sport and the school has to offer. Think about the community and the environment because you want to be in a happy environment. The biggest thing I've picked up on being at this level now at college is that field hockey is not black and white. I think I used to think of field hockey in a very stagnant mindset, but the reality is it's a sport that ebbs and flows. For example, when you're playing on the outside in high school, I would play an outside midfielder position and I would stay on my side the entire game. That's not how it works here. You need to pinch inside, you need to pull outside. There's so much more to the game than the position that you think you have before you come to college. It's much more complex than that. And once you make that click and switch and you realize all of the other components to that position rather than just the spot you're out on the field, everything becomes so much more fluid and there's so many opportunities to pop into pockets, pop into holes, and create big plays that weren't available before. The biggest thing I've learned in terms of managing my responsibilities in the classroom along with outside the classroom is mastering time management. There's going to have to be a lot of tough decisions. You're going to have to weigh, do I work on my studies right now? Do I have some fun? And the biggest thing is prioritizing what you need to get done before you have that time off to relax. In terms of making sure I was better prepared for the level in college, I would have realized the asset that video and film provides much earlier. I know that before you get to college, it can be hard to come by, but if you do have access to film, it elevates your game to a whole nother level. And even my first 2 years at Michigan, I don't think that I utilized the resource of film and watching my plays back, but this year I've seen a huge difference in my comprehension of the game just utilizing film. So if you have it, use it. Any advice I would give to younger upcoming athletes, especially female athletes, would be own your space. It can be challenging at times, but find your voice, amplify it, and hold your ground.